Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Lena and welcome to another video. So today I kind of wanted to do a quick video, but I don't know how much I'm going to just keep talking. So today I wanted to talk about the Southern Book Club's guide for slaying vampires. No, to slaying vampires. I always messed up this title. This book is by Grady Hendrix. I think that I've said it right finally, but I read this book last month and this is a bit of a horror story, but let me tell you a bit about what it's about first. We just start up set in this small town in Charleston in the middle of the 90s, and we get that kind of nostalgia already, but it's not like just thrown at you right on your face. So we're going to follow Patricia on her way to her book club. We ended up basically following her joining another book club, which is actually kind of based around the notion of reading kind of true crime novels or horror novels. And one day this new neighbor comes into town and she is starting to suspect that perhaps she's not entirely human. I don't want to tell you much about the plot besides from that, because I think that this book just unfolds so beautifully that you don't need to know more. It's just like better knowing nothing. There's one thing that I love about this, is that it's just not a horror novel, it's just like a mixture between horror and satire, and it has like a great general humor. Oh, it has just like some moments where you are just like super tense and terrified in a way, but others you just like laughing out loud. And I'm not usually a person who loves humor in its books, but the humor in this one was just like so on point that it made it perfect for me. And it has kind of a bit of gore. So if you don't really like that, I would say that it is just like full on gore, but it has some scenes that are quite on the disgusting side. I don't know if it's just me, probably, but this gave me such a similar vibe to Fright Night. I don't know, in my mind, the neighbor was called James, I think. I hope I'm not forgetting that. Kind of, I just pictured him as Colin Farrell throughout the whole book. And I was just like really happy about it. Kind of like humor, but really scary at the same time. Just, I don't know, it just kind of remind me of one another. I have to say that this book made me terrified of vampires again. There is just, this character is fucking terrifying. I mean, he just gets in there and gets in your mind and is cruel, and he is going to make you do bad things and make you feel bad. And there are so many scenes where I was just like, he was making me insane because he made me so mad, but at the same time I was just like, perhaps he's not that bad, you know? And you can really feel that with Patricia throughout the whole book. But yeah, it's been such a long time since I found like a scary vampire novel, because they tend to get into more of the cliche type of thing, but this one was just like fucking awful. I mean, you need to read this book just to be afraid of this guy. Then, now we're talking about the characters. James is out of the way, but Patricia, our main character, is just like one of the most reliable characters that I have ever read about. She just has so many questions. I don't know, but she's just like, in one part she's just like, oh my god, I hate my fucking family. And I was just like, yeah girl, I mean, your husband is a bit of a jerk, so I get that. Every single side character in this novel is interesting. All the women have just like their own arc, and it's just not like irrelevant, it's actually very, very relevant to the plot, which is something that I don't encounter often. I mean, we usually get lost in the main character life, but these ladies were amazing. I was just like so in love with them all, and when they were together, I was just like, yeah, my favorite book clubs together. They were all amazing. And this leads me to the fucking men. This is set in the 90s, and feminism wasn't a thing yet in here. And oh my god, all the men were just concerned about their image, so they wouldn't let their wives do whatever they wanted. So, oh my goodness, this drove me insane. There's a scene, this is not a spoiler, but if you are really sensible to it, you can skip ahead. But there's a scene where they are trying to tell the men about something, and they just wouldn't believe them because they are women. So I was just like, what? What? They just like kind of despise them throughout the whole book. It ends up with such high note that this was completely worth it. But yeah, it's just like a great exploration about gender roles. The 90s was just like right on the point. Then I have to say that this author's writing was so captivating. I don't know what it was about it, but this was just like making you read more. I finished this book in one day, almost, and you need to keep reading because you need to find out more. But the writing style is just like kind of straight to the point, but it draws you in such a weird way. I don't know, I'm just so excited to read more about this author. I actually just ordered my best friend's exorcism, I think it was called, by him, because I just need to read this one. By the way, all the headers for the chapters were actually true crime novels, and that was just like so cool because it kind of gives you a little bit about what that chapter is going to be about. Some of the elements in this book were just like so over the top. Some scenes were just like crazy, like the ending. Later, we'll talk about it later. But sometimes this book is actually like a contemporary because you spend so much time in Patricia's head, trying to go with her with everything that's going on in her family. That is just like, so I don't know, it felt really grounded. It was just like not everything was about James. She just had like problems in her house. Her relationship with her son and with her daughter felt so real, and I don't know, I loved it. It was just like such a good point. No spoilers here, but the ending of this book is fucking great. I won't say anything, but it's just perfect. You get to this resolution with these expectations, and they are all met by the end. You're just like satisfied, and it's just like had like a point there. I wish I could talk about this with spoilers, because I need to find someone else who has read this book, because it felt so good. That ending felt amazing. You're going to finish this book being just like, fuck yeah, this was right. The only thing that I would say that was a bit of a meh for me was the fact that there's not too much fiber on it. And I get that. Because of the whole mixture, I think that I like it more. But at the same time, I'm just like, I wish we had like a little bit of more gore into it. But I don't know, this book was just like kind of a perfect mixture. I give it like 4.75 stars because it was just like so to the point, so good. I can't wait to have another turn into the bumper thing by this author, because it was just like done so well, so well. But yeah, you don't want to hear spoilers about this, because I'm going to talk about a scene. It's not like a major spoiler thing or anything, but if you're really sensible to it, we can leave it here. So I'll see you in another video. But there's a scene with a cockroach. Oh my god. Patricia is hiding, and there's this narration of how a cockroach is trying to get into her ear. Oh my god. I've never been so close to throwing up with a book than with this one. It was so disgusting, but it felt so real that I was just like, come on, come on. I tried so hard not to skip this part because it was driving me insane. But it was just like disgusting. There are so many scenes that are just like there to make you feel bad. But it's just like you feel identified with the main characters, so they are perfectly fine there. But yeah, this book was just like so good. Please read this so we can talk about it. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. I really hope that you try and read this video, this book, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!